How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am the curator for the Golden Age comic books, and I am here with another comic book video. Now, in this video, actually this month, I want to cover some more foreign superheroes, but not any country specific, just a couple I've been able to find. Now, I did want to do a video on Commander Steel. Unfortunately, I was able to find only a few issues of Commander Steel, and none of them was the origin story. So instead of going over his origin story, and I don't have a whole lot of new information, so I'm not going to recreate an entire video because of all the information that I have done about him before, and you can see that in the Canadian superhero video. So if you want the full entire story of his origin, it's in that one. What I'm going to do in this video is, with the few issues that I have been able to find, I have observed some things about him that I didn't have available to me when I first covered him. And I'll cover some things of what I've noticed about him, his powers, how all the information that I found said that he has superhuman strength, speed. I don't think so, and I'll cover what I mean. Just basically a rundown of some of the things that I've noticed. So we'll go over a brief recap, some of the things I've noticed, and then we're going to cover a hero that I haven't actually covered before, but he also comes from the Golden Age. So let's do the brief overview of Commander Steel, and then we'll come back for the next one. Now, as I stated in the video before, Commander Steel, Jack Steel, first appeared in Grand Slam Comics, Volume 3, Number 9 in 1944 from the Anglo-American Publishing Company. Now, as I said, they all say he has superhuman strength, speed, durability. As part of the superhuman strength, I've seen him do things that an enhanced human can do, but not super strength. I didn't see him bend steel, break through walls, lift cars and throw them over his head. And whenever he punched somebody, he didn't send them flying off into the distance. They just fell right at his feet. But it only took one punch to put them down. So I will give enhanced strength. Now, they do show him doing feats that would be considered superhuman, as here I have him, let's see, he had a warhead full of gas explode, and he was able to run ahead of the gas. So that would suggest that he has some super speed. And he also jumps out of a window to jump onto a car as it's getting ready to speed away. That would suggest that he's got super strength. But, and there's also this one where he gets thrown off of the side of a mountain. And when he gets up, he says it feels like every bone in his body is broken. So he obviously has enhanced durability. I don't know to what level, because he says he feels like every bone in his body is broken, but where it pales for me of being super strength is he is overpowered when numerous enemies come upon him. Somebody with super strength could beat everybody coming around him. I mean, we've seen superhuman characters before. If they have superhuman strength, nobody stands in their way unless they have superhuman strength as well. He's not fighting anybody with superhuman strength, so he should be able to fail all of assailants. There's a scene where he is captured, and he only breaks out after somebody comes into his cell, so he doesn't break down the door. I'm assuming he would have been able to, but he doesn't. So, as far as the super strength, that remains in question. Now, I did notice in his early appearance, he is wearing a red shirt with his blue pants. Now, the color scheme is the same in the other comics, but he seems to be wearing an emblem on his chest that looks like scales, and I'm wondering if that's supposed to be the scales of justice. Now, he is fighting the Germans, and in one issue he does fight Nazis, but they seem to speak perfect English. They don't change some of the letters to make them sound more Russian, like a lot of other comic books did in the 1940s. Now, I don't know whether or not they colored Chinese people yellow, because they didn't cover that. But these are a few of the things that I've noticed while looking over the Commander Steel. He's intelligent, but he's not super smart. In fact, in one of his cover operations, he forgot his cover name and was revealed as a spy. I don't know if he is bulletproof. He has been shot at a number of times, but they don't show any of the bullets bouncing off of him. He doesn't exclaim to be bulletproof, which, if he was super durable, he should be able to take bullets. But these are a couple of things that I've noticed about Commander Steel that I wasn't able to cover before, but I hope this gives you a little bit better of an idea of who he is and what he does, basically. First-hand information is, the actual comic books. Actually gives you a lot more information that you can get from sites. They never seem to... They definitely don't go over as much as I do. That's for sure. Okay, so this next here is... Bleh. Word vomit, sorry. The next person I'm going to come over, I only found one issue of his comic, but I also found some corresponding history to go with it. So I will cover who he is, some of his origin story, and a little bit of his origin story is actually covered in the issue that I found. So we'll go over his origin, who he is, where he comes from. I found some of the information so we can follow the story through, even though I was only able to find one issue. But it was interesting enough that I wanted to cover him. So we're going to cover a UK superhero. As far as I know, they said he was from the UK. Sub-Zero Man. That's right. Never covered him before, so get ready for this one. Now we're covering over Sub-Zero Man. Sub-Zero Man first appeared in Blue Bolt Comics Volume 1, Number 1 in June of 1940. The original publisher was Novelty Press. He was created by Larry Anatoly. Anybody wants to correct me on that, be free to. He does not have a real name. I'm guessing because it's an alien name. Okay, the story I have does not... I don't have his origin story, but the story I have basically covers this. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. He is an alien from Venus. He is a Venusian. I know that with sub-zero temperatures in Venus, they don't go together, but keep in mind the surface of Venus, and when we found that it was a greenhouse planet, was not discovered until 1962. And since this story was 22 years earlier, we're going to go ahead and give it a pass. Because remember, at one time, people thought that with all the clouds that were covering Venus before we were able to explore it, we thought it was a lush tropical planet. So we're going to go ahead and give this story a slide because of what we knew and we knew. So the Venusian man known as Sub-Zero was coming to Earth with his people so they can explore the planet. Now, they would get caught in a comet. It says comet here in his origin story, but in the comic book it says an asteroid. Now, everyone and everything was frozen inside of this comet or asteroid, but he was the only one to survive. Now, I think that because of the freezing, this is what gave him his powers. I don't think it actually came from being from the planet Venus. So, but there's something in the comic that just... Anyways, he crash lands near Salt Lake City, and at this time he is made of ice. Now, a number of scientists discover him, and they're able to use this. It says gamma rays on his origin, but I think it's atomic rays. Yes, I just checked. It's atomic rays. You see how having the comic book just gives you, it gives you more of an accurate origin than what some of these sites put out. He found out with the atomic rays, he could turn himself into human form and reverse the freezing effects of things that he's frozen. But he still has the power to freeze things. So it looked like he was imprisoned, and I'm assuming that it was the authorities, because then papers came out about him questioning who he is after he escaped, because he found out that he could freeze the bars and get out of jail. So in the story that I have with issue number 3, he is wandering around and sees the Rocky Mountains and the ice-coveredness, and it says it reminds him of home, which makes me wonder, what exactly Venus was like to begin with. Anyways, he goes to the Rocky Mountains and he finds a woman in the water, and she appears to be drowning. So he makes an ice bridge to rescue her, brings her to shore, and then uses the atomic rays. I think that they heal him. He saves her life, and then he runs off because, people still don't have a great opinion of him yet. And then later on, he gets picked up by a trucker because nobody's been able to identify him by looks yet. And this trucker takes him into town, and they almost get collided with the most unusual school bus I've ever seen. For the 1940s, this may be perfectly accurate. It doesn't look anything like a bus. But he freezes the bus before it collides with the truck, and then he takes off. And then the people around him are like, did he do a good thing? Oh no, he did this to save his own skin. Oh yeah, that must be what it is. He's bad. So later on, he goes into town, he stops in at a diner, and I guess he lets his power slip because they notice it's him, and he takes off running. And he notices some robbers leaving the scene of a crime and the cops chasing them. In the attempts to stop the crook, he accidentally freezes the police car. That's hilarious. I actually thought that was humorous. He unfreezes the police car and then puts up an ice wall to stop the robbers. Now we cut to some other people who are secondary characters, I guess. They're saying, okay, we need to find out what's going on with the Sub-Zero guy. Is he good or is he bad? I mean, look at what he's done. Just then, they're interrupted because the volcano that is near the town has erupted. And it's going to cover the whole town in lava. So they start to evacuate the town, and he notices what's happening, so he goes to the sign to where the threat is. Now, apparently, the lady that he rescued has been following him or keeping tabs on him because she sees him going towards the lava and chases after him because he's like, this is the man who helped me. And the police are escorting people away, and they see Sub-Zero, because they don't know it's Sub-Zero yet, running towards the lava, and they're like, is this fool trying to commit suicide? He's going to kill himself. Which I found this exchange humorous. I think I got the picture for it. It's funny. He freezes the police officer who tries to stop him. And then as the lava starts to get closer, he freezes the entire wall of lava and saves the town. And they say, hey, this is our hero. He saved us all. We don't have to hate him. Now, this was the only issue I was able to find. Now, I'm going to go over a little bit more of what I found that would have come after this comic book. I don't know if it's from the 40s, but the characters that they mentioned are from the 40s. They're people I had not covered before. So I'm just going to go on a limb and say that this is from the Golden Age. If this happened after the Golden Ages, feel free to correct me. He was originally known as Sub-Zero Man and would later become Sub-Zero afterwards. He would team up with other heroes that came out in the comic books that he was a part of, known as Blue Bolt and Twister, which Blue Bolt was actually the name of the comic book. At one point, he would also have a sidekick named Freezum. His enemies included people like the Green Turtle and Professor X. Now, as I stated, he can shoot ice beams from his hands. Apparently he can put up a protective shell to prevent injury and can cause freezing specific to localized areas, which we've seen that when he put up the wall to stop the criminals, or when he froze the lava, which was impressive. He can freeze water, which what we saw when he went to go rescue the lady. But he also froze water to unearth a submerged car and lifted out that was filling with water. So that's basically Sub-Zero. He can freeze things, and he's an alien. So there you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed what I've noticed and the covering of a new superhero. Now, next week I will be doing somebody that I have not done before, but I did find their origin comic, so we'll be able to decipher him, go over exactly the powers that I know about him, but you'll find out who that is next week. So until then, I'll be seeing you.